Story 1. My late mother was a fantastic cook, which I didn't realize or appreciate until I grew up and left home. She didn't like baking very much and rarely did it, but she was a great cook. But the one thing she had been making for 60 years and could do it blindfolded and in her sleep was chocolate roll. A mixture of egg whites and egg yolks beaten and mixed with cocoa and powdered sugar, then baked in a jelly roll pan, spread with sweetened whipped cream when cool, rolled up and frosted with a light chocolate frosting. It resembles a large Hostess ho-ho. Most delicious treat in the world. I try to make one every other week to put a smile on my dad's face. But mine will never come out looking as good as my mom's, but it still tastes great. Story 2. My mom makes the best carrot cake in the universe. Hands down. It's her own recipe, hybridized from 2 different recipes she had long ago. It's like no other carrot cake I've ever had. I have it every year for my birthday. She has even shipped it to me unassembled. Icing in a jar, cake layers wrapped in wax paper and foil. When I lived far away, I estimate I've eaten this cake at least 50 to 60 times in my 43 years on the planet. Sometimes we make it for her birthday too. It's so good. Editing to add that she cooked and baked a ton throughout my childhood and still does a fair amount. Many other things she makes are great too. Her meatloaf and her chicken and dumplings are on point. Pumpkin pie is amazing, but if I had to pick one stellar winner, it is the carrot cake. Edit. Okay, you all, the hunger for this recipe is real, and I'm here for it. Let's say that anybody commenting up until 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time, I will tag when I post the recipe on the Old Recipes subreddit. Otherwise, I will also update this post with the link, and the stragglers can get there that way. Let there be cake. Son of Edit. The recipe is posted. Well, mostly posted. I am now going to type out the recipe in the comments. The handwritten cards my mom wrote out for me are in the photos, but they're a bit hard to read, and then tackle tagging people. Hit me up and let me know how it turns out if you try it. And I'm happy to help any novice bakers with questions, no matter how basic. Don't be intimidated, as some relative of mine said, if it's got good stuff in it, it's got to be good. Revenge of the Edit. There are still some commenters and some who messaged me who I haven't sent the link to yet. I love you all, but I am now very tired and am going to bed. We'll respond back tomorrow. Story 3. I married into a Ukrainian family, and my mother-in-law and wife make potato and cheese pierogies for Christmas and Thanksgiving each year from scratch, and there's nothing like them. You think you like pierogies, and then you have a homemade one, and suddenly you can hear colors. Story 4. Gumbo. My mom made the absolute best gumbo, and I've spent the last 10 years trying to get it right because she never wrote down the recipe for me before she died despite me practically begging her to do so. God, I miss her and her gumbo. Story 5. My mom recently passed, and this thread has me crying at my desk. A few months after she died, I thought I was doing better until I had the realization that I would never get to eat my favorite meal of hers again, which sent me into a tailspin. Call your mom and tell her you love her. Story 6. Honestly, everything. That woman is like a mad scientist in the kitchen. She'll experiment, turn out some really weird, gross, downright obscene stuff from time to time and just figure out what works. The process ends with something that you imagine the gods would eat on Olympus. Story 7. Banana bread. I used the same recipe and it just isn't the same. Miss you, Mum. Edit. Wow. Thanks for all the rewards, everyone. Totally unexpected for such a simple comment. Raising a glass to all the mums. Story 8. Leche flan. Even the stuff from the local Filipino bakery is spongy scrambled eggs compared to my mom's. Thick, smooth custard. No bubbles. Her secret ingredient is the tiniest splash of lemon extract. Sometimes she'll put a layer of flan on top of cassava cake. Shredded cassava cooked with macapino coconut. Lord, so good. Story 9. Not my mom, but my grandma makes the best fried chicken ever. I won't eat any other fried chicken except for hers because all the others just disappoint me. Edit. I will ask my grandma for her fried chicken recipe and share it with everyone once I've gotten it. Edit 2. I got the recipe. You are going to take your chicken, wash it and dry it, then cover it in a flour mixture of salt, fresh ground pepper, and paprika. Shake off the excess. Then you're going to beat some eggs really well. This is important. Dip the chicken into the egg, and then back into the flour mixture. Shake off the excess. Heat cooking oil shortening on medium and add the chicken. You are going to turn the chicken every few minutes until it's golden brown. I recommend putting the finished chicken on a plate with paper towels to allow the excess oil to absorb before eating. I hope you all like it. Story 10. Vegetable soup with small meatballs was a recipe from my grandmother, who learned it from her mother, who again learned it from her mother. The meatballs came later. It used to just be vegetable soup. It's good in all seasons, and when smelling it, it instantly transports my mind to when I was a small kid going to grandma's for the weekend. I have learned how to make it, but my mother says it will taste better once you pour some extra love for your kids and grandkids into the soup. I don't have kids, so I'll have to wait to find out. Story 11. Apple pie. Funny thing is, she is Korean, never had apple pie growing up, and does not really care for desserts. She uses a recipe from a Betty Crocker cookbook but tweaks the spice and always tastes the filling before baking to adjust the sweetness. The pie always has the perfect balance of sweet and tart, and it is never goopy. Granny Smith apples, always. Story 12. My mom is Korean. She makes a Korean oxtail soup called seollyeongtang. It's my favorite meal, and I'd want it as my last meal if I had to pick. Honorable mention. Haejanguk, or hangover soup, is another favorite. Highly recommended. For those who want the recipe, my mom never wrote it down, but this one uses the same method as hers and tastes the same. Story 13. Hey Marge. Back around 2012, I was a shy, awkward Asian student in South London, and you were the strong Jamaican woman who welcomed me into your home with your son and adopted daughter. I remember your cooking, your spaghetti and meatballs, and the unusual frozen chicken dishes that I've never seen outside the UK. I remember your care and love, even if I couldn't recognize love at the time. Everything fell apart for you in my second year, and we students had to leave. You wouldn't show your face as I left. We never thought less of you. People say my meatballs and my bolognese are incredible, but they still don't match yours. Hope you're well out there and safe. Story 14. She does not like to cook. But my dad is a chef and makes something called city chicken, which is from Detroit. It is basically just breaded pork on a skewer because chicken used to be more expensive than pork in Detroit. So, people would buy pork and call it city chicken when breaded and baked or fried. It is always top tier. He makes it with mashed potatoes and mushroom gravy, and it never fails to put a smile on my face. Story 15. She made little meat pies. I would help her as soon as I was old enough to be allowed to. She made really good pastry that she would roll super thin to make it stretch. But she would make me one or two with double pastry because I loved it. It took so long to make that it was usually a weekend job. Story 16. Literally the only thing my mother ever cooked that was worth eating is grilled ham and cheese. Still to this day, I have no clue what makes hers better than anyone else's. It's just cheese, ham, bread, and butter, but for some reason hers is simply the best ever made. I haven't spoken to my mother in nearly 30 years, but I still have dreams about that sandwich. Story 17. I have more memories of my grandma's cooking because my mom unfortunately worked the night shift for most of our childhood, and so we ate at our grandparents' down the road most of the time. My grandma was a fantastic cook, and she had many classics in her repertoire. Carnival beignet with vanilla custard, lax, although we just called them potato pancakes, noodle, soups made of every vegetable on this earth, etc. But the one dish I remember the most was one of the most basic meals you can imagine. It was simple lardons, a fattier version of bacon, cut in small strips, fried in a pan, with a few sunny-side-up eggs cracked on top so that the fat and the crisp of the pork would embed in the eggs. A bit of salt, a generous crack of pepper, and a good grating of nutmeg. In another pan, she'd fry potatoes cut in tiny cubes with some rosemary, all of which was picked from the garden by my grandpa that morning. And finally, a hefty serving of spinach from the same garden, cooked at low heat with a good spoonful of cream, shallot, and garlic. It was perfect, just decadent enough to enjoy the guilt, but enough spinach to ward off early onset diabetes. She'd usually cook it on a Wednesday when we didn't have school in the afternoon, and so, after lunch, we would loiter around the dining table, playing robber's rummy with her, or we'd go to the living room and help her untangle her skeins of wool, with some low-budget detective show on the television in the background, usually Inspector Derek, a German show with such a slow pace it would make the afternoon stretch out for days, so that we'd always have time for one more card game. Story 18, Guacamole. For us, the trick has always been a little bit of sour cream, which especially helps if the avocados aren't great, and tons of garlic. I have to say, the comments on this have been very educational. I feel like I need to take notes on these ingredients. I wish I could try all of your guacamole. Story 19, cheesy broccoli. Sounds silly, but I have always loved it when she made it. I remember back when I was in kindergarten, I brought a large container of it for show and tell. Since it was my favorite thing that my mom made to eat, I wanted to share it with everyone in my class. I was really excited too and helped her prepare it the morning before school, thinking everyone would find it cool that I brought something everyone could eat instead of something like a toy as most people did. The rest of the class was not as excited as I was, and no one, except the teacher and I think maybe my friend Nick, ate any of it. I guess it was unusual to actually like vegetables, and I was a bit disappointed that nobody really tried it, but at the same time I was also happy because it meant more for me. Story 20, tomato pork. I don't really know how else to describe it because I don't think a recipe exists. There are recipes for tomato pork, but the thing my mom makes is completely different. It's regular old pork chops that get seared and then put in the oven, and when there are 5 minutes of cook time left, she puts brown sugar on top mixed with some spices and just dumps on a can of tomato paste. Cook it for 5 more minutes, and it's the best thing you've ever eaten. The leftover tomato paste makes a sauce somehow, and you put it on top of the white rice she serves on the side. We're having it tonight, and I'm so excited. My dad does all the cooking except this one meal because he can't do it nearly as well as my mom for the life of him. Story 21. I love my mom, but real talk, she is a terrible cook. Edit. Oh God. So this is what rest in peace my inbox is like. Edit 2, good going Reddit. My top ever comment is criticizing my mom. What a good son I am. Story 22. My mom is from Italy. You know, anything she cooks is amazing. Edit. Sorry that I didn't respond to any of your replies. This is one of my first comments to become popular like this. Story 23, lasagna. 27 to 30 combined layers of hand-rolled pasta so thin, you can almost see through it. Homemade bolognese and bechamel sauce, and Parmigiano Reggiano. Everyone around my family, friends, and relatives goes crazy every family dinner. The surprising part? She is not Italian, my dad is, and she had an old Italian lady, a friend of the family and a fantastic cook in her own right. Tell her it was the best lasagna she had ever had. Story 24. I love her potato salad. And I mean, listen, it isn't anything special, but it is perfect. Everyone else's potato salad is just too much. Mom's is just potato, mayo, salt, pepper, probably garlic powder, and if I'm lucky, hard-boiled egg slices and celery. It's just simple and straightforward. I mean, to be fair, most of what my mom cooks is overly simple and straightforward. That's probably her biggest issue as a cook. Everything is fine but simple, underspiced, and cheap. The potato salad, I feel, is the one thing that really benefits from that. Everyone else's potato salad tastes oversalted and mustardy and too all over the place. One time, my mom made me potato salad in college. I think it was for my birthday. Before going back to college, I spent a day or whatever with my now ex-boyfriend and forgot the potato salad at his parents' house. He ate it without asking or telling me. I spent a whole week looking forward to this potato salad I love so much. That next weekend, I found out, and I was upset that he ate it without so much as a word. He went into work the next week and told all his coworkers his girlfriend was mad at him because he ate potato salad. And then he told me about how he told all his coworkers I was crazy for being mad about potato salad. Andrew, you should have told me you were eating it. Story 25. Fried chicken, lasagna, and meatloaf. I've mastered the lasagna and the meatloaf, but will likely never attempt to make her fried chicken. She died in November of 2019, so I can't even ask her for tips. I can't even eat fried chicken anymore. It's just not as good and not the same. Story 26. Did she make, as she isn't around anymore, a stunning leg of lamb roast dinner? roast potatoes that were unparalleled anywhere on the planet, Yorkshire pudding that was crisp and soft, light but substantial, mint sauce, lamb sliced thinly, and peas made Sundays heavenly. Story 27. My mom isn't particularly memorable as a cook. My late mother-in-law, however, made a few dishes that, as of yet, I've not seen duplicated. Her stuffed pork chops and stuffed chicken breasts were second to none. Her chicken and noodles were better than any Amish restaurant. And while I've taken her meatloaf recipe and adapted it, hers was in a class all its own. My stepmom deserves a mention. We flew out to see the family in California for Christmas 2014. For context, my mother-in-law died the preceding March, and my wife was still hurting significantly. We flew into Las Vegas and drove to San Diego, and when we got there, we were presented with salmon, cranberry rice pilaf, and some kind of steamed vegetables. My wife raved about the meal for a long time, and it kickstarted a wave of healthy eating for both of us that led to my wife finally getting pregnant.